as we welcome you back to the set. David and I are now joined by the offensive coordinator, Dana Holgorsen, newly named officially the offensive coordinator, but we're talking signing day today. Coach Holgorsen, overall, just how exciting is this day for the program, welcoming in some new talent?
Well, this is a fun day. Across the country, it's a fun day. It has been for years and years. I remember back in the day that, this was the first Wednesday in February. And so, a lot of the times we knew who we were going to sign at this point in time right now, early December, but you had to recruit them all December, and then you had to recruit them all January and waste a whole lot of money, of recruiting these guys. And then you sign in February, and so it's just a different area, different time. And we're excited about these guys. I don't know, I still don't know who they all are. I don't know when they're coming. I hear a lot of them are going to be here in January, which I'm excited about that.
It's interesting. A lot of fans will say, oh, he's a breath of fresh air. It's different, straight shooter. Is it a breath of fresh air for you, too? Is it a
Yeah, yeah, it is. I think the thing that's the most exciting about it is just the football aspect of it. I've been head coach for 13 years. And when you're head coach, you think you're like you got your hands in everything, and you're coaching like all the positions, and you're not. I mean, you're doing a whole lot of things other than coaching football. And so I think the thing that has been fun for me is just sitting in there and really, coaching football and getting, coaching the kids on the field and focusing on specific things as opposed to the big picture stuff, So I'm excited about doing that. And, the last month has been fun, but, we're just getting started here, and so it's gonna continue to elevate from here.
So on Monday comes out the announcement that you're going to stay on and be the offensive coordinator here. You came here and didn't probably know what the future was going to hold, but when you start having those conversations with Coach Rule, why did you want to stick around and be the Huskers offensive coordinator?
Well, I think that it's we should have won 3 games when I was here. I think that's kind of the biggest thing. I'd sit back and I watched the USC game and probably had as much fun as I've had, the Wisconsin game, and then the Iowa thing, we let that get away from us, and that bothers me, and so you get in and you start coaching these guys, and there's some specific things that we could have done a little bit better, and if we would have done those things a little bit better, we would have won all 3 of those games, and so that motivates me as a competitor, it motivates me as a football coach, and we were close in those games, but it didn't happen, and that just motivates me to want to get in there and do things a little bit better, little things different, continue to get better at what we did. I do think we made some progress. For as odd of a situation as this was, for me to go into a room and not know anybody or anything, including like the calls and the offense and stuff, the way that our staff came together, the way that the players responded to it, for us to be able to be close was encouraging. Give us another month and the product should be a little bit better. Give us another year and the product will be better.
I always tell people I have a real strong affinity for Coach Rule, and it's 3 qualities. He's ultra competitive, he's other-centered, and he's real self-aware. Right? He understands kind of what's going on. Sometimes you get 2 or 3 of those in a guy. What was it that kind of drew you to him and this place? Because that has to be important to you, right? You don't have to do anything. You get to do what you want to do. What drew you to Coach Rule in this program?
Well, the history of this place speaks for itself. I mean, you walk into the building and there's 5 national championship trophies sitting right there, right? So I mean, I grew up in Iowa, so I understand the history of this place and what the past has been, and I respect that. As a football coach, I respect that. And then Coach Rule is just a guy that I've admired for a long time. I mean, we've been competitors. I was at West Virginia. He was at Temple. We didn't play each other, but we were always kind of in the same area. And then him going to Baylor when I was at West Virginia, we were always in those same meetings, and I just respected what he said and how he acted and how he responded. I think we share the same agent, so we go to like different things together and stuff. And so I just know him pretty well, and the conversations have been good. We all know this. He tried to get me to do it in January, and I was just like, I can't. I just got fired. And I'm like, I need a vacation or 2. I mean, I got to take a little bit of time off. I didn't think it was fair for me or my family or him or the program for me to just dive right back into it, and so the fact that he called again, I respected that, and he said, I don't know what this looks like, let's just figure it out. And at that point I was kind of bored. So I go, I was gonna fly back to Fort Worth and do my little consulting stuff with them at TCU, and I was like, I just changed my flight, and I headed to Lincoln, and here we are.
That's
Incredible.
Great. You had mentioned just the progress that this offense made in the couple weeks you got your hands on them. How excited are you about this group of offensive players, some of the talent that's in place here that you get to work with?
I just think it's going to change so much every year. I mean, personnel is going to change. I mean, guys are going to stay, guys are going to leave, they're going to graduate, they're going to get better, they're going to improve. It's what I said when I focused on our team for a week. I focused on USC for a week. I focused on Wisconsin for a week. I focused on Iowa for a week, and now I'm kind of taking a deep breath. And we're doing a lot of recruiting and stuff. And then next week, we'll know who the next opponent is. And I focus on that, and so, we'll have 2 to 3 weeks to be able to, do developmental practices, to be able to get our guys together and continue to practice them and see what the bowl game looks like. We need to go win this game. The fact that Nebraska hasn't been to a bowl game in 8 years or whatever it is just mind-blowing to me. It's just, I can't fathom it, and so we need to take advantage of this and go have a good performance in the bowl game, and then we'll shift to next year. But the team's going to change, I mean, how it's going to change, I don't know. I mean, we're going to probably bring in 20, 30 transfers, on visits. We're not going to take that many, but we're going to bring that many in to be able to fill the spots that we need to be able to change our team, and I look forward to that process.
Do you start, it's interesting because your Rolodex is so extensive. Do you start with things that you like to do and then see what kind of players you have, or do you kind of look and see what players you have and then thumb through where that chapter is in your book?
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is who we got right now. I mean, you got to look at these guys and you got to figure out who they are, and you got to evaluate them and see if they basically fall into the category as they can help us win, or they can't. They're not ready yet and they can't help us win. And so, based on the amount of people that we have here that can help us. You're not bringing people in to replace guys that can help you win. You're bringing guys in to fill spots on where you need people to be able to help you win. So I'm looking forward to that process. It's already been fun to be able to evaluate guys out there. The rules are so different now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so different than they were back 5 years ago. I mean, I know what we need on offense to help us, and I'm watching video of other kids at other programs that I got to make decisions on whether they can come in and help us. So it's just so new, it's so different, but it's exciting because it can help change your team in a year, which is what we're after.
Being that you just talked about the rosters change, everything's changed. You've coached in almost every conference, but what stays the same is your offense is successful. Why is that? Why is your system successful everywhere you go?
Well, I don't know what system we run right now. You don't really dig into it.
What you do offensively, why does it work everywhere?
Well, I just I took the offense that Nebraska was running. I started watching it, and I'm like, I mean, for a week, I told Coach, I was like, I don't know if I can call this because it's so foreign. I mean, everything was different. I mean, Coach is like, you're learning Chinese, and so. And so for after a week, and so I just took the stuff that made sense to me. I said, we're going to do this, and the stuff that didn't make sense to me, I'm like, we're not going to do that, and so then we got into game planning, and I give all of our coaches a whole lot of credit. They each and every one of them said, here's some ideas I have to go play USC, or then Wisconsin and then Iowa, and so I took all their ideas, and I'm like, this makes sense. We're going to do this. This doesn't. We're not going to do it. And so, at the end of the day, there's about 75 plays in a game. Sometimes it's 65, sometimes it's 80 or whatever it was. We actually ran 78 plays or 70-something against Iowa.
76 against Iowa.
I was going to go into that game thinking we were going to run about 52 just because of their ball control and stuff like that. We just played so good defensively that they just kept giving us the ball back, But, at the end of the day, it's still, 70 plays or whatever it's going to be in a game. I'm going to call the same play twice if it works, and if it works, I'm going to call it 3 or 4 times. So why do you need 150 plays on your sheet? Because you're not going to get to them. So quit putting them on the sheet, because you can't practice them, and you're not going to call them all, you know. So that's just what I did. But well, I don't know if I answered your question or not, but you know, what offense, how things look and how things are. We got a lot of time to figure that out. You know, I'm not interested in changing anything right now based on the fact that we got to play here in a couple weeks. You know, so it's just got to make sense to me. It's got to make sense to the players.
Covered this league a long time, and a lot of the head coaches get accolades, but the pool of assistants, the assistant coaches, it's tough. Week in, week out, really quality staffs, and it's not often you get coaches like this of your caliber as an OC, but you're starting to kind of see a little bit of a movement with Chip and Gus and some other coaches. Do you like the fact that you just kind of get to be the mad scientist? Because it's rare to have such a high quality offensive mind that's been a head coach as an OC or a DC like that.
Yeah, I think you know, we were talking about it earlier, but you know, as the head man, you got to do so much stuff, man. You got to deal with donors, you got to, you know, fundraise, you got to recruit everybody, you got to recruit specialists, you know, and then offense and defense. You know, you got to recruit them all. You got to recruit everybody. You got to hire staff. I mean, there's an army of people in this building that Coach Rule is responsible for, you know, and like people are always going to come and go, and so you got to replace people, you got to interview people, you got to do all kinds of media stuff. I mean, and then the last thing you want to do is go sit down for 10 hours and watch video. You know, the day's just, it's too short. So the fact that I don't have to do a lot of that stuff, I can just get in there and watch video is pretty cool, you know, and it's something that I've missed and haven't been able to do the way I want to do it for 13 years, and that's what we're going to do.
Well, we're talking obviously signing day today, and the portal is going to be a big part of it. And so, you know, just in reference of today, when you're looking for offensive players and kind of who you want to build around, what are some of the attributes of those offensive players, wide receivers, running backs that you like to work with?
Well, guys that can really make plays is you know, just athletic playmakers is kind of what we're after. I don't care if that's, you know, receiver, inside receiver, outside receiver. I don't really care about the size, you know. We're not looking like for specific size and stuff like that. Bigger, faster, stronger is always better, but you know, just guys that are good humans, you know, good kids, good people, hardworking guys that are intelligent, that can learn and will work hard, I think is kind of what fits what we're trying to do here. But you know, just guys that can make some plays more than anything, and I think we got a couple of those guys signed up right now.
Coach, you've coached in a lot of different places around the country. Fact or fiction, it's a challenge to coach across all the time zones in this conference with travel. That's kind of been a national thing. Like you've been a lot of places. Can you see that being something you've got to navigate efficiently?
You heard of airlines, right? Yeah. So I mean, airplanes get you there quick. Yeah,
I'm gonna like you.
I got asked that question when I was at West Virginia and we joined the Big 12. People were going to be like, "How are you going to navigate the travel?" I'm like, "It's an airplane. You can get there in 2 hours." You know, so I mean, one good new thing. I mean, Nebraska's pretty centrally located. Right? So if we're going west, it's 2 hours. If we're going east, it's 2 hours. If we're going south, it's 2 hours. So it's not a big deal. I do sympathize for some of the smaller sports, you know, the other sports that play multiple games a week. Yeah. You know, like my good friend Huggins was like, I mean, he would be like, I'm not flying to Texas on Monday and then flying to Texas again on Wednesday. You know, so you got to be creative with like some of those other sports that play more than one game a week. I mean, that does get pretty challenging for some of those sports. But for football and for, you know, 5-6 times a year, you just get on that airplane and you go, and it's not that bad.
I guess final thing for me, just moving forward as you prepare for a bowl game, again, something that this program hasn't been able to do for a while. What are your goals for the offense? What are you hoping that the offense can achieve here before you guys play in another one this season?
Yeah, improvement. You know, I look forward to the bowl prep stuff. That, you know, we practiced yesterday. It was a good developmental practice. The guys went out there and I was encouraged by their attitude, their effort, the way that they attacked it and prepared. Tomorrow's the same thing. Can't wait to get out there and coach these guys up. We're going to take a weekend off. You know, I've been working 16-hour days for going on 5 weeks now since I've been here. I'm taking the weekend off and going to go see my family, and then we're back at it next week, and we'll know who the opponent is, and so we can start game planning. We can start, watching who we're going to play, figuring out where we're going to go and all that stuff. It's all fun. It's encouraging. It's a reward. I mean, bowl games used to be real rewards, and it's going to be a reward for a lot of people. But you need to attack it, and you need to game plan it like you're going to go win it. I mean, that's how you do it, and that's what we're going to do. And I look forward to it wherever we go.
Last one from me, Coach. People always talk run pass and ratio and whatever. I know you want to move the ball and score points. How much are you just willing, or do you have a plan in terms of however we generate points? That's going to be kind of what you want to do, or is there an emphasis for you?
It's a lot easier to hand the thing off and score.
I would agree.
No, it is. I mean, just the execution of calling the play. If you can turn and hand it and you go score. I mean, that's a lot easier than dropping back and pass sets and routes and progressions. And this is coming from me. At the end of the day, I think it's about balance. I think we've always, with whatever offense I've been involved with, which my offense has changed over the years. It used to be air raid where we throw it 90% of the time. I went ground and pound to where we were running the ball 70% of the time at West Virginia for a couple of years. So we have the ability to be able to go either way. I think you got to look at the defense as far as what they're doing. They got a plan. And so what's their plan? Identify what their plan is. If they're we're not, like Nebraska last week, I think did a really good job against Iowa. Just saying, you ain't gonna run it.
You're not running the ball,
You ain't gonna run it. So we're gonna put 12 people up here, And so you got to look at what their plan is on defense, and you got to react to it. And you got to be able to have a plan to be able to attack it. It's as simple as that. If we need to throw it every down, we'll throw it every down. If we need to run it every down, we'll run it every down. I think that's how you attack that.
I said last thing. Here's the last thing. How do you like having a defense that gets you the ball back that much, like you were talking about at Iowa?
Yeah, that was it didn't happen the other two games. But
there's that dose of reality.
Okay, but in that game, I go to the sidelines. One, it's cold, okay, and Glenn and Dylan are sitting on the bench, and the heater's right here. I caught on fire 3 times. I was standing there, trying to watch the video. And I look up and it's 3rd down. They're calling for the punt. I'm like, we're not done watching the video. Let's go. We got to go play offense again, So I only watched about half the plays on the sideline because 1, I was on fire, and 2, and 2, the defense was getting the ball back for us, which is awesome, man. That's a breath of fresh air, man.
That's incredible.
Great stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it, and best of luck as you guys keep continuing on with bowl prep.
You got it. Thank you.